be honest and say that I am not faithful of endless economic growth. So I don't want the world back to the so-called the normal. I wish a kind of subjective molecular mutation going through all this. I think it's not just about recovering economy, but rethinking economy in a more ecological and redistributive manner. And I think art and culture have a lot to do with these issues, certainly.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, because historically, at least in my world, there's always the opposition between sports and arts, right? So it's like people want to go see football games. They feel sport is the great way to connect communities. But interestingly enough, because of COVID, there's no sports, no soccer game, no hockey games, no basketball, none of this. And yet I really feel that if you look at who has been really active, at least on social media and in terms of content, it has been museums, it has been arts institutions that are using their archive to show past interviews, how, let's say film festivals or documentary festivals are using, websites and television in order to still share the content, that artistic content. And I also think that I really tend to agree with this notion that art is also a physical relationship to an artwork, and that everything we do while using social media is great to reach out to different publics, but somewhere at the end, my objective has always been to bring the viewer face to face in front of the artwork, right? And so I think slowing down things and not only thinking of big, what they call blockbuster shows as the only solution to engage people in a much more personal relationship to the work of artists, and then to also I would say it will happen because institutions won't have as much money, but to do more work and more research on collections, on the depth of the works that are presented, why they were chosen, how they're presented, how do you engage a public with those collections. And I would say for myself also, engaging in new conversation and kind of shifting the center, is the center only New York, London, Paris, and I don't know, Miami or Mexico City? I'm just saying a few towns. Or is it more these bilateral other conversation that in the end are enriching for different groups that might not find their way to each other because they would have to think, and I'm just taking the example of our conversation, would it be more that Valeria or myself would think that we need to be in conversation with somebody in London or in Paris or New York, instead of thinking of us being in conversation from two different centers, and I think those types of engagement hopefully will happen more and are necessary, so that we redistribute the type of conversation and that we have a better sense of what is what makes sense for our respective communities or our respective audiences. With whom do we choose to be in conversation, instead of having a somewhat market dictate, which conversation are the valid ones.